Welcome to 8-Limb Life, a podcast on living the 8 limbs of yoga, one step at a time. My name is Andra, and I am grateful you are sharing your time and presence with me as we explore this sacred wisdom. These teachings are ancient, but they're not meant to live in the past. They show up in how we speak, how we act, how we relate to others, and to ourselves. Each episode explores one of the limbs and how we can bring this wisdom into modern life. This is 8-Limb Life. Hello and welcome to 8-Limb Life. Today, let's begin with the yoga that most of us know and love, Asana, translated as pose and seat and the place we sit. To begin, we'll start with the poses themselves, the ones we see in modern yoga. Poses like Bhujangasana or Cobra, poses like Dandasana or Staff Pose. These belong to the third limb of the 8-limb path. We step onto the mat. We move through sun salutations. We fold, twist, balance, strengthen. Maybe we leave feeling more energized or calmer. Maybe we feel more connected than when we arrived. This is real wisdom in moving the body. Movement nourishes our muscles and joints. It improves balance and coordination. It helps regulate our nervous system. And it teaches us how to breathe more fully. For many people, simply having 1 hour where they're not looking at a screen or rushing through obligations is deeply healing. The physical practice matters. We don't need to apologize for loving it. In fact, I think one of yoga's great gifts is that it gives us permission to simply move, to inhabit this remarkable body we've been given. In asana practice, that's exactly what we do. If you're in a place where you're able, let's take some time to simply move together. Take a long, slow inhale. Reach both arms up and overhead. Not because higher is better, simply because it feels good to lengthen. As you exhale, let your arms float back down. Take a moment to notice your shoulders. Roll them gently a few times, forward and backward. Then you might begin to circle your head too, if that feels comfortable. As you move, notice your breath. Feel your body. Nothing complicated, nothing impressive, just moving with awareness. Already you're practicing asana, not because of what the movement looks like, but because you're paying attention as you inhabit your body and the way it's moving. Begin to release movements if you haven't already, and just take a moment to breathe. When Patanjali wrote the Yoga Sutras nearly 2,000 years ago, the physical practice of yoga looked very different than many of our classes today. There weren't dozens of standing poses or flowing vinyasas. It's our understanding that asana referred primarily to a stable seat, a posture that could be sustained comfortably for meditation. Patanjali wrote, Sthira Sukham Asanam. The posture is steady and easeful. Notice what he doesn't say. He doesn't describe how to do poses or postures. He doesn't tell us where our feet should be or how far to lift our arms. Instead, he describes the quality of the experience: steady, easeful. Those two words have echoed through centuries of yogic practice. So why do we spend so much time moving if the goal was originally to sit? I think the answer is simple. Because the body truly matters. If you've ever tried to meditate with aching hips, or a stiff back, or restless energy, you know how difficult it is to ignore the body. Movement prepares us, not only physically, but mentally. Every posture becomes a conversation with yourself. How much effort is needed here? Where am I gripping unnecessarily? Can I soften without collapsing? Or can I stay curious when something feels challenging? The poses, they become your teachers. Not because Warrior 2 has magical powers, but because Warrior 2 reveals how you meet challenge. Tree pose can reveal how you respond when you lose your balance. A deep forward fold might reveal whether you can let go. Shavasana certainly reveals whether or not you can be still. The shape itself really isn't the lesson. Your relationship to the shape is. Let's look at a story from the tradition of Zen. A student traveled many miles to study with a Zen master. Eager to begin, he arrived at the monastery expecting profound teachings on enlightenment. Instead, the master handed him a broom. "Sweep the courtyard," he said. The student swept, but hurried through the task. He was anxious to move on to the real practice. When he returned, the master simply said, "Sweep again." This continued for days. Frustrated, the student finally asked, "Master, when will you teach me meditation?" The master paused thoughtfully. "I have been teaching you meditation. How you sweep the courtyard is how you meet your life." What the story is pointing to is this: it's not what you do. It's the quality of consciousness you bring to what you're doing. It could be simply walking with awareness. It could be listening without talking inside your mind, too. It could be seeing someone and not judging their appearance or their opinions, but meeting them with quiet presence, free from thought. This is not easy. It's a deep practice to quiet the mind enough so that you don't get taken over by every thought. Asana helps because it can create more ease in the body. When there is ease in the body, this helps quiet the mind. Then, when the mind is quiet, you have enough space to make a choice. You can choose to follow a judgment as it arises in your mind, or you can simply let it float by. You might allow your mind to formulate a reply in a conversation, Or you might simply listen to the words someone is saying so intently the mind is quiet enough to truly hear. Asana can be a beautiful, powerful, and vital part of a quiet mind. Think of a really challenging class you've taken. Maybe it was in a room heated to 95 degrees. Maybe you moved quickly and released a lot. At the end of the practice, you noticed your mind had become quieter, if not completely still. All that movement, all that effort led to the peace of a quiet mind. And yet, sometimes it feels so good that we end up doing it too much. Too many vinyasa classes, no restorative ones. So much yang, no yin. This can actually lead to more contraction in the body. There is asana that is strengthening, stabilizing, and challenging. There too is asana that is quiet, restorative, and restful. We need both to have balance. Some will be drawn to more active classes. Some will be drawn to quieter ones. Both are beautiful. But to truly quiet the mind, we need ease in the body, not too much contraction from overdoing it. With this in mind, let's try something together. Simply notice yourself sitting. Feel the weight of your body. Feel the support beneath you. Notice how your spine naturally rises. Without becoming stiff, see if you can lengthen gently. Now soften your jaw. Relax your forehead. Take one slow breath in and out. This is also asana, not a dramatic posture, not something anyone would photograph. Just a seat, a place where body and awareness meet. Perhaps this is exactly what Patanjali meant. Asana means seat, too, after all. Eventually, through practice, something beautiful begins to happen. You might leave the studio, but the practice doesn't leave you. You notice your posture while waiting in line. You soften your shoulders during a difficult conversation. You feel your feet on the ground before answering an email that frustrates you. You remember to breathe. Suddenly, asana isn't confined to 60 minutes on a yoga mat. It becomes the way you inhabit your body. Every chair becomes a seat. Every walk a practice. Each moment becomes an opportunity to remember. Perhaps that's why the word asana can mean both pose and seat. Because ultimately it's less about the shape your body makes and more about how you occupy the place where you are. The modern practice of yoga has given us an extraordinary gift. We move, we strengthen, we stretch, heal, breathe, and all of that matters. But beneath every posture is another invitation, not to perfect the pose, not to perform, not even to become more flexible, but to become more present. To find a place where you can truly arrive, a seat that is steady, a body that is alive, a mind that is beginning to settle. And as the mind settles, something else becomes possible. Ram Dass often spoke about cultivating a quiet mind and an open heart. I think this points toward one of the deeper possibilities of the practice. At first, perhaps a quiet mind means that we're less caught up in our own thoughts. We notice the thoughts without having to follow them every time. We create a little more space between a thought and our reaction to it. But there is an even deeper place the practice can lead. There is such a thing as thoughtless awareness, not unconsciousness, not spacing out, not becoming dull or passive, but a very clear, awake presence in which the mind is quiet until we actually need it. The mind becomes a tool rather than the place we are constantly living. We can call upon thought when thought is useful, and then return to the stillness beneath it. Perhaps this is one of the most important reasons to practice asana. We move the body. We work with the breath. We guide our attention into sensation. And gradually, the constant noise begins to settle. We discover that beneath all of the mental activity, there is a still point. And that still point really matters, because from there, the heart naturally opens. We become less defended, less reactive, more available to what is actually here: a quiet mind, an open heart, a body that is present. The posture is temporary. The flexibility may change. The strength may come and go. But the capacity to return to that still point, to remember that there is awareness beneath the movement of the mind, is something we can carry far beyond the mat and through our entire lives. I think this is where asana begins to reveal its truest purpose. From there, we will move into the fourth limb of the 8 limbs, pranayama. Next week, we'll explore together the breath of life. Until then, may you feel at home in your body, in your practice, and in your life. Namaste. Thank you for being here and for exploring these ancient teachings together with me. If this episode resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who might need these teachings in their life. Until next time, may your practice continue to unfold, both on and off the mat. Namaste.